A visit to the auto parts store on January 1, for most people, probably not a positive. Except in my case, it's a great way to start the new year because it's something I'm doing proactively. I want to keep my beloved Mitsubishi Mirage, I know, aim high. I want to keep it in tip-top shape with greatest chance to stay in top shape. I take care of my car, I do regular maintenance, I even clean the engine regularly, and what I'm about to tell you might at first seem like it's overboard. And it has to do with this battery. This is the battery that came in the car, and this is a 2017 year model. I purchased it new in 2016, and we just kicked off 2024, so this battery is closing in on 8 years. And it still starts the car just fine, but I'm about to replace it, so why? Well, believe it or not, a battery that's still starting a car without fail can be bad, and it can be bad for the car. Let me explain with some wisdom an old mechanic friend once told me. They said, you know how you can be around someone every day and you're around them so often that one day you look over and you say, you know, you're getting sick, you don't look so well. And the person's shocked, they feel fine, only to a day or so later become sick. You noticed it before they knew it. Well, the same thing happens to a battery. And this was his oracle advice for diagnosing a battery even before problems appeared. If you're looking at a battery and on the negative terminal, you see corrosion and it's only on the negative terminal, that's the sign a battery is regularly being undercharged, which is more common than most people would think. We do a lot of short trips in cars, 1 or 2 miles, the battery never can be regenerated all the way. Do that over the course of weeks or months or even years, it can drag down the battery. Well, there's another side to that, the positive side. If you see corrosion on the positive terminal or the positive battery post, and only there, that's the sign the battery is regularly overcharged, which is a whole other set of issues. And if you see corrosion on both terminals, like we just looked at on mine, which was a very micro fine bit of corrosion, but something I only now noticed, this is new, that's a sign that the battery is past its prime and it's on a downhill decline. Well, what he said must have stuck, because here we are, and I see microfine bits of corrosion that I never noticed before, and I detailed the engine less than 3 months ago before I took it to my dealer for an oil change. I know it wasn't there then, and they even test the battery and give it a look over, and they gave it a thumbs up, but here's the thing. They just hit it with a voltmeter, and that can identify low voltage, and let me duplicate what they did. Put a voltmeter on it and 12.48 volts. And this is a stone cold battery too. I haven't started it today, but this isn't giving me the truth as far as the overall battery condition. So let's maximize the odds for the battery here. I have my trusty die-hard charger, a charger and maintainer. This will analyze the charge level and top off the battery until it's at a good state of health, or a good state of charge, which took about 2 minutes because this battery was in good charge state. And now we know that it's at 100% full charge. Looking good, but let's dig deeper. And I'm doing this because this battery is 8 years old, and I suspect, my finely tuned ear tells me that when it starts, I don't think most people would notice this, but to me, it sounds less robust with the start. It's very subtle, but I do notice it, and I've been making a mental note as time goes by, so I'm going to play on my hunch and drag out a load tester. If you don't know what these are, they throw a load on the battery that mimics starting and or some other heavy load, and you can see how many cranking amps the battery is actually putting out and how it recovers. I'm not going to go into how to use this, except to say there's one button. You press and hold that for up to 7 seconds on this model, and then you look to see where things fall and how it bounces back on the gauge. My results with the load tester, now this is a 420 cold cranking amp battery, but it's only outputting slightly over 200 cold cranking amps, per this load tester. I would guess around 220 based on the needle position. And the rebound, it does climb back up over 12 volts. And I know people, I've tested batteries for people that see it still in the green on the cold cranking amps and see it go back over 12 volts and consider this good. And the argument could be made, cold cranking amps aside, 12.4 volts and recovering and starting fine. Maybe I'm just crazy. What about the alternator? I checked that too. Yep, charging the battery just fine. But I know what my ear tells me, and I'm going to play on that hunch and drag out another tool, a digital tester. This is going to give even more detailed information on the battery, and I'll do a review on this tester in another video if you'd like to see that. Comment below. What this digital tester does is measure a few other parameters and then give a verdict on overall battery health, and the results, well, this lines up with what I suspected. Bad replace. Why? Because it's at 32% overall battery health. The state of charge, 100%, we knew that. But the cold cranking amps should be 420 or around there. That's 253, which we also saw on the load tester, but this is more specific at 253, and this shows internal resistance. A new battery would normally be between 2 and 5 milliohms. When a battery starts edging over 6 milliohms, it's no longer at its peak, kind of midlife, and going downhill from there. This one over 11, and altogether that gets that overall battery state of 32%, which means this is enough to crank the car and otherwise function just fine. But its days are numbered. And there's more to the battery than it just cranking the car. What most people don't consider, and why I'm making this video, is the battery is part of the electrical ecosystem of the car. The second part of the car, aside from the engine. Lower the state of health on the battery, the more strain it puts on other parts, like the starter. I mentioned the Revolutions didn't have the gusto they once did. The alternator, it's having to work harder to replenish the battery after every start. The voltage regulator is working harder, and modern cars have lots of computer bits all through them that don't like increased internal resistance. It's a small imbalance at this point, but it's still not operating at optimum efficiency, and I want this car to last. And rather than waiting for it to get even worse and put more draw on the car's other components, and potentially leave me stranded one day, I choose to replace now. And just so no one says you didn't test it out of the car, well, here you go, the same results. And someone else has probably already started typing, check the electrolyte level. Well, it's hard to see on camera, but it's right at the sweet spot between the upper level and the lower level markings. Almost 8 years, this has done its job above and beyond, in my opinion. These Hitachi batteries are really good, and unfortunately, Hitachi batteries not available in the US as a replacement battery, at least that I can find. So while I ponder my options, I'll take the opportunity with the battery out to get to some of the nooks and crannies I normally can't reach in my regular engine cleanings and get it ready for, well, something. I just know it won't be Hitachi, and I'm a fan of factory parts. I called the Mitsubishi dealer, and they do have Mitsubishi branded batteries. They're made by Interstate and 550 cold cranking amps. That's better than this factory Hitachi when it was new, and they want $189. But I think I can do better. I mean, it's not a factory part, so all options are on the table. And if you watch this channel, you'll know I was a Sears fan. And to this day, some of those legacy Sears brands I'm still active with. I still buy Craftsman tools, just now from Lowe's. I mean, I buy Craftsman everything. Even my riding mower is a Craftsman. Old habits die hard, and pun intended, because I draw on an old staple when it comes to batteries. Die hard. Now available at Advance Auto Parts. And that's what I chose, a Die Hard Gold. 640 cold cranking amps, and there's another number important to me. That Hitachi battery had a really good reserve capacity of 99 minutes. Many batteries, even the higher cold cranking amps, come in below that often. This Die Hard Gold's reserve capacity, 100 minutes. And I got a 15% discount, so it costs less than the Interstate my local dealership had. And car YouTubers are also going to tell you the freshest battery is good. Well, this one was made in November of 2023. I bought it on January the 1st, 2024. That's pretty new. I won't bore you with the installation. This is a Mitsubishi Mirage. It's not a fancy car, so installation very straightforward. A quick test with that new tester in, oh yeah, a major difference and exactly what it should be. State of health, state of charge, 100%. The measured cold cranking amps, check this out. 640 is what the battery is rated at. Actual output 783, and this is on a cold day. Good voltage, and look at that internal resistance. Perfect as I expect from a Die Hard, so I won't be needing the Die Hard charger to top off the Die Hard battery, but I did pick up something else Die Hard. A battery installation kit. It comes with oil-infused felt rings and the dielectric grease that keeps corrosion from happening. Now, I'm sure there's varying opinions on the effectiveness of this. Simple steps for cheap, it certainly can't hurt anything. Now, one thing that I do change that is different from instructions is with the felt rings. They're a double design, one side for small post and another for larger side post. I take out the small ring just because I don't like an overlap. Unnecessary felt hanging off the edge of a battery irks me. You know what else gets under my skin is doing stupid things. How long do you think it was before I noticed I put the red felt ring on the negative terminal? I have an excuse. I was distracted. I knocked the positive shroud cap off and it bounced through the engine like a Plinko game on The Price is Right. Luckily, it landed in a very accessible spot. You might have also noticed I removed the battery handle. Those tabs weren't cooperating with me, so I cut them off. For a reason, even retracted, they still poked up enough to rub the hood insulation. And it took about that long for me to realize the red felt ring wasn't on the positive side. Not that that matters, aside from cosmetics, but cosmetics apparently mattered enough to me that I didn't use the Walmart version of this kit because it only had 2 black rings. Everything squared away, here we are. The battery nested in its cubby, the terminal ends cleaned with baking soda and wire brush and then coated with grease, and the felt rings properly situated. First start with the new battery. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to sound. Robust and confident starting. I doubt this battery's gonna give me the 8 years the Hitachi did, but it should last for quite a few. It is a diehard. And my story of why I made a preemptive choice. I think you should be testing your battery as regularly as you're checking other things on your car, and replacing the battery when testing shows that it's starting to go bad, rather than waiting on true signs of decline. That's the way I do things. What about you? Is this overkill? Do you ride it till it quits? What do you do? Comment below. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And a note, some links down in the description are affiliate links. They don't cost you anything extra. It's a great way to support the channel. There's also coupon codes, things like that. You should be checking the description. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.